Thank you, Amy, for those wonderful words. I know I don't deserve it, but I love it. Amy always reminds me of Hubert. I always thought God equipped Hubert with a second engine. He was tireless, he could go longer, to more places, give more speeches, listen to more citizens, write more letters, take more phone calls than anybody I ever knew until Amy came along. And she's got that second engine too. No meeting is safe in Minnesota with Amy, and we're so proud of your leadership. Amy, like Hubert, is positive, engaging, funny, endlessly helpful and kind, and I am really proud to have had a public life where we could work together. And I really profoundly admire the leadership that she's providing in the Congress. The only thing that she ever did that was different than Hubert was in the last election, she ran a little bit ahead of where Hubert ran the last time. And that may not sound like much, but I know Hubert, and somewhere up there, he's turning in his grave. He's very angry about it, and we'll have to figure out what to do about it. When Hubert's health was failing, many of us met with him to decide on a fitting memorial. He was very clear that he didn't want a dead memorial, he wanted a live memorial that improved lives, that educated and inspired. And I think our Humphrey School perfectly reflects his vision. If he were around today, I know he would be thrilled by how our school has grown into one of the most admired schools of public policy in the nation, and that it is getting better all of the time under Dean Schwartz's visionary leadership. Senator Franken, thank you for your magnificent leadership. When Humphrey and I ran together, we'd always say, Minnesota deserves two strong senators. Well, now, in Amy and Al, we have two strong senators. In fact, I'd say this, you're almost as good as we were. Senator Dernberger, thank you for your leadership in the Senate, and especially for your leadership in these past years, providing a bipartisan role in shaping the nation's healthcare reform. You have been a profound influence on all of us, and we salute you. And Tom Emmer, thank you for being with us tonight. It means a lot to us, and we hope we can continue to work together in this way and in other ways. President Kaler, great president of our university, we thank you, among other things, for your strong support of the Humphrey School. And Tom Borman, my friend for many years, thanks for the Borman Legacy gift. You've honored your dad's great career in the best possible way. To Jack Thunheim, the chairman of our advisory board, a wonderful, stable, tough, consistent advocate for this great school. Sitting here tonight, listening to the many spectacular achievements of our honorees has been a great way to spend an evening. It reminds us again of how incredibly fortunate we are to be Minnesotans. I often tell outsiders who visit for the first time that one of the things they should know about Minnesota is that we're utopia. We're just better than the others. And if you'll keep watching, you'll see that that's true. And it's great to be a part of the wonderful achievements of this great Humphrey School. Our earlier honorees, Catherine Sigerud and Mel Carter, help us understand that. The remarkable Center for the Victims of Torture, the best of its kind in the world and located right here under the leadership of Kurt Goring. What a joy it is to have that honor. Andy Luger, the best in the business, taking on this tough assignment of enforcing U.S. law, which is difficult enough by itself, but do so in these difficult times when he has both defend us and also try to build a healthy community dialogue with new Americans. Andy, you're the best, and we're glad you're here. And our great 3M company, always one of our most successful, I'm really thrilled by the leadership role that you're providing in providing legal services for the indigent. I'm astonished and thrilled by what that means. And Imam Sharif Muhammad, your commitment to the Somali community, to the growing stability of that community in Minnesota means so much to us, and we're honored to have you with us. We gather tonight at the end of a remarkable week in American history and for social justice. I started this week in dread and on my knees, and I ended up stuck to the ceiling. We saw first the affirmation of our Fair Housing Act. We found the I hope, final affirmation of the Affordable Care Act. We saw on Friday the long-awaited decision to ensure that throughout this land, finally, same-sex couples would have the same rights and the same dignity as the rest of us. But as we rejoice in those changes, and we do rejoice, we can't help but notice during the same week some real sobering signs that all was not well. Terrorism attacks on 3 continents that remind us of the tenuous nature of peace around the world. And then the heartbreaking tragedy in Charleston when a 21-year-old filled with hate and with guns devastated so many lives. Surely we must see that gun violence is disrupting our public process, killing and maiming thousands of our citizens, seemingly one assault after another, across our nation with no let-up. Can we not, at long last, keep guns away from the deranged persons by adopting a strong national background check requirement for gun purchases in our nation? This is humiliating and shaming our nation. This doesn't happen in most countries, but it's happening here. I remember as ambassador to Japan meeting with Japanese parents who'd lost their child, who was shot going door to door on a trick-or-treat night by some guy who came out of his house and shot him dead with a shotgun. And the poor parents couldn't understand it, and I must say, I don't understand it either. It's time for us to get that behind us and show as a nation we will not tolerate this. We also need to fight back against the serious trends in America that weaken and imperil our democracy. As Elizabeth Drew recently wrote, There are three broad assaults against the health of our democracy: voting restrictions that discourage and impede the right to vote, cynical redistricting, and the loose rules on large amounts of money being spent to influence voters. In recent years, and I believe this is correct, we've been moving further and further away from a truly democratic election system. Lincoln famously said, "Ours is a government of the people, by the people, for the people." That's the basic idea of America, that it's ours, and we control it. But today, with billions of unregulated, unreported money, called by some black money, sloshing around the system, with candidates rushing to hold court with billionaires, with impediments found in too many states that deliberately discourage voting by minorities, the poor, the elderly, and yet by students, we can see that the American ideal of free elections is being sorely challenged. As an old politician that got his start in this community and on this campus, I can tell you that I am scared stiff about these threats to our free society, about the assault on public trust. No matter where you go and what you decide to do, please help us try to make a difference on these issues. At the heart of our quest must be the rule of law, and that's what we're talking about tonight, and it's so fundamental. If I had one anchor in my public life, if I had one hope in my public life, is that the mic would go back on. It was the ongoing quest for social justice in America. That's what I believed, that's what I believe, and that's what I believe as long as I'm alive. And I believe more than ever today, civil rights, access to justice, equality for men and women, and human rights are still the issues of our future. I've been around a long time, and I've had the extraordinary experience to see this nation from the top and from afar, to be with Hubert Humphrey as he was getting started, to be called an Attorney General, a U.S. Senator, Vice President, and Ambassador. I've tried to be called President, as you remember, but it didn't work out. But for a kid coming from rural southern Minnesota, from the great metropolitan areas of Heron Lake, Salon, and Elmore, it has been a special, fulfilling life. I'm honored by the Humphrey School's decision to give me this Lifetime Achievement Award for public leadership, and it's going right up on my wall. So to each of you fellow honorees tonight, I salute you. To each of you attendants here tonight, please help in supporting the Humphrey students who will be our future. Thank you so much for this special night. It's a wonderful evening for the Mondales. Thank you.